Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Listen Up podcast. It's your boy Brandon.
Sam.
Yo, man, we are back, man. I feel like it's been a good long minute, man, since our last episode. We don't have Super Bowls, NBA All Star games. There's been a lot going on, man. So first of all, I guess how you been, man?
Everything's been good. A lot of family stuff. I've been trying to be more present in the fam. That was okay. Life be lifing, man. Life be lifing. And it hadn't been a lot of FSU news, really, to be honest with you. I know a lot of
Right,
people been pretending there's a lot of news, but they get paid to pretend that. I don't have time for all of
right,
that.
right. Recycling and rehashing old things that have already been addressed. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
feeling you.
yeah.
No,
So
we definitely been on that. But
yeah, for real.
no, I feel you on that one, man. Like you said, life be life in at times. So y'all know us. We've talked about it a few times. We take it how it comes. We gotta take a break. We take a break, man. We're a 2-man operation, so we gotta we gotta operate how we can, man. And so like I say, when you get busy, and especially when there ain't nothing really going on, man, in the world of Florida State. What's the point of us out here just talking just for the sake of talking? So
Yeah.
man, but I am glad to be back. With that said, man, I'm glad to be able to talk to the people, man, and be able to you know say what's up, man. So let's dive in a little bit. You know what I'm
Man,
saying? Let's dive in.
my uncle crazy. He just put on the YouTube talking about checking cash out.
Listen, man, I told you we gonna have to we gonna have to start charging, man. He said, check your cash out. What's up, man? That's
No,
what's
no,
up.
man. My uncle crazy, man. He funny, man. Funny guy. Yeah, anyway.
Hey man, but listen, on this episode, we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's been circulating, man. So we're gonna talk coaching rumors, conference alignment, and we're gonna do a little bit of just FSU turnaround. The schedule came out. We ain't really, we talked about it on the time, like we did some spaces or whatever it is, but we talked a little bit about it. So we'll talk about the turnaround and if we see Florida State headed in the right direction. So Sam, you ready to dive in, man?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man.
All right. So I guess first up, man, is the coaching. It looks like Alex Atkins is well, I ain't gonna say it look like Alex Atkins. I'm gonna say that there's a position open and Alex Atkins is one of the top in my opinion offensive line candidates for said position. What's your thoughts, man? What do you think?
I mean, career wise, it makes sense for him to go to Georgia, right?
Right,
I think it makes sense because if you think about it, he's a black coach, so
yep,
you have to check a lot of boxes to get
right,
a good job. I think it really depends on what type of job he wants, right?
right.
Like if you want a middle tier ACC SEC job, probably going to Georgia probably makes the most sense. If you just want a head coaching job at like a Chattanooga, Tennessee, or UNC Charlotte or whatever, then you could stay at Florida State. And you probably could get that type of job. You know what I'm saying?
A thousand
Um,
percent.
but resumes matter, especially when it comes to the black coaches. It does matter who you work for, worked up under. You
Yeah,
know, if you could go work for Kirby for what you think, 2 years, maybe
two.
two
Especially
years,
if he do what he did, here at Florida State.
right? And he will recruit at a different level at Georgia, right? So he'll probably be a national top recruiter,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the way he recruits, he will be a national top recruiter at Georgia.
And so
So,
that's really that's funny you talked about the recruiting aspect because that's kind of the like when I looked at it, man, the impact that I think it has on Florida State is huge.
do you?
Yeah, man, because you got to think about it, right? Out of all your coaches, who's the only guy who's proven he can do it at this level?
No, he's the probably the best recruit. Second, I think
I
he's
ain't talking about from a recruiting standpoint. I'm just talking about who can coach, who has shown the ability to improve players at just his coaching level
yeah.
on Florida State's current roster. Or I mean, of coaches right now. Atkins has shown he is,
He's the most
in my
complete.
opinion,
He's the
the
most
most
complete coach on his staff. He's the most
exactly,
complete
and
coach
not
on the staff.
right. And
Yeah.
now you're talking about you're adding in his recruiter element, man. You're saying you have a potential of losing your top recruiter and possibly your best coach.
Yeah.
When you get to that point, man, I think it's a very big impact on Florida State to lose Atkins. And if I'm them, I don't let Atkins get away without at least hearing what we offer.
I think they're gonna do that.
Do you?
I think he's gonna stay
Okay.
ultimately. But if it was me, if I was him, I would much rather want to be tied to that Kirby Saban tree. But it really depends on what he wants, though. Like,
Well, that's what I'm gonna say. With all the pros and cons you name, why would you then say you think he gonna stay? With all the
because
pros you don't name, why
I
you
don't
think he would
know,
stay?
I don't know what he wants, right? Because he didn't come from a big boy program like that, right? He came from UNC Charlotte. He came from Charlotte,
Yeah,
so he didn't cut his teeth in a like. I think Jimbo cutting his teeth in Auburn always wanted to be on a big stage. I think Kirby always wanted to be on the big stage, right?
but what
I
does
don't,
all coaches want though?
but not necessarily, not all coaches, not all coaches.
Well,
Like,
I ain't gonna say all coaches.
well,
You're right, because
like,
Mickey Andrews was fine being a defensive
but no,
coordinator,
I'm
right?
saying you get a coach like the coach from Wake Forest. He's fine with being that. Like, that's his job. Like, he likes
True.
coaching there. You know what I'm saying? You
But
get
I think an
some
offensive
coaches.
line coach is at least saying he got some. I would think his aspirations can't stop at offensive coordinator at Florida
No,
State.
no, I'm saying job wise.
Yeah.
Like in my opinion, like Jimbo Fisher coveted a top 10 football job. Like, he wanted a top 10 football job, right? Like, that's why
Hmm.
he made the move to Florida State when he did, because he could have stayed at
Hmm.
LSU and probably waited out Les Miles to be a failure and takes that job in 5 or 6 years, right?
True.
You know what I'm saying? But he coveted that top 10 job. Let me get somewhere where I can quickly elevate up to the top and get a job that I think I can win a national championship at. I
Hmm.
mean, you look at some of those coaches in the Big Ten. I don't know if every coach in the Big Ten, like Kurt Ferentz, I don't think Kurt Ferentz want to coach on a national stage like that. I think he's fine with being Iowa's coach, winning 10 games, right?
I think all of them want it. I think all of them. I don't believe there's a head coach out at any level who's looking at it and saying, I'm fine. I don't even Kurt Ferentz. I think, well, I ain't gonna say any of them because a few of them, you're right. They fine. In other words, I got Wake Forest. You're right. It's a perfect job. They don't have no expectations. I can win every few years. The grades. I'm not gonna get the players. No recruiting
I
expectations.
don't have to deal with the
It's
headache of the
lovely.
media. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to deal
it's
with the
lovely,
media.
right?
I'm just coaching
And I'm making
football.
good money.
I'm
Yeah,
making
yeah,
good
you're
money,
right.
and I'm
So
just
I
coaching
think you can look
football.
at certain jobs and you would, and you're right, right? They're gonna say 1,000%. I don't need nothing different than what I have right now. But I do think most of the other coaches are saying, I want to win a championship. I've gotten to this to prove that I'm the best coach out here. Let me prove that I'm the best. So when that opportunity comes, I think they take it. Now I agree with you. I actually don't think Atkins takes the job either. I think I look at what he's built here, and I think he's proud. That's something to be proud of. You know what I mean? I think he can look and say, I I am the best coach on this staff. I've built this line from the ground up. It was nothing but spitting bubblegum. I've now got what should be a pretty good offensive line. I built from what was a absolutely god off F offensive line to what'd you say, B minus?
Ooh, I think they still at a C.
Okay. But even going from an F to a C, you you
Yeah, that ain't
passing.
bad.
Yeah, yeah, you passing. Okay, so I mean we ain't too far off. So you say you got a C offensive line. That's a huge improvement. You look at
Right.
the recruiting strides he made this year, and you saying, well, I can get guys to come to Florida State too. So I don't think he's so in the and he's now been promoted to an offensive coordinator. Even if it's just in name only, he still got the title. I
Right.
think he can look at it and say, I can go to Georgia and and go back to offensive line coach, or I can possibly be a real offensive coordinator at another school in the future. And I think he looks at this opportunity and says, "Nah, thanks, but no thanks. I'll pass. I like what I got going on here." Now, is that a mistake? I don't know, but I do think he likes where he's at, and I do think he sticks around.
Yeah, I mean, I think he sticks around. And I also don't know how far up the list is he for Georgia, right? Like, you're gonna put your feelers out and ask, you know, do you want this guy? Do you want that guy? Um, I think I think it's just a sad state of affairs when one coach makes or breaks the coaching staff, right? Like, when you sitting around like, yo, if we lose this coach, man, we ain't got no more good recruiters. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of like, that's an odd place to be when you consider yourself a top 10 football program, with the ability to become a top 5, top 1 football program in a given year. It's kind of crazy that you sit around like sweating over one coach, right? You sweating over one coach, and that's kind of insane to me.
It ain't kind of. I mean, yeah, it ain't no kind of
I,
insane about
'Cause
it. You
I
know what I
don't
mean?
think I don't think Kirby or Saban Eddie, even Jimbo when he lost Mike Echo, I don't think he's sweating bullets. I really need this guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's happening over there. You know,
He's your best recruiter, and in my opinion, I don't even think it's close.
he's your best
Like I don't
coach.
I don't know who's yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's your best recruiter. He's your best coach, and to be honest with you, I don't think it's close.
Yeah,
Mike has had his ups and downs. We can chronicle those.
yeah,
We're just and that's I guess putting it nicely, right?
right.
Um, he hasn't shown the ability to land that big time player. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong on that one, and yeah, I know they'll correct me if I'm wrong. He
mhm.
hasn't shown the ability to do that. Um, so then I'm looking at around the coaching staff and I'm saying, well, who now steps up as your best coach? Who now steps up as your best recruiter? I don't know where that guy comes
I
from.
mean,
Well, here's
what's
the other
his?
thing, and here's another question: if he does take the job, do they promote within again, or do they go out and find the offensive coordinator? And see, that's where it
Yeah,
gets
I
crazy,
think
right?
that's the
Because now
problem,
you
right?
picking from some bullshit. Now you got to pick from some bullshit. Like just, I mean, it is what it is. But you're not finna pick through these bad apples and tell one of these guys they got to be your offensive coordinator. Or
Right.
do you say, all right, we've just freed up $2 million,
Hmm.
go steal somebody?
I just don't think I don't. I don't think Money Mike holds the type of weight to just go take somebody today. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think he holds that type of cachet. You know what I'm saying?
But it's a new day, man. We spending money now.
Okay.
Damn, Sam, you ain't even. I mean, all right, so no, that's a no. It's not a new day.
I mean, I'm here for it, but like I said, I'm reading the tea leaves, and they're not changing. The tea leaves ain't changing yet. But when they change, I will be the first to tweet about it. I'll be like, "Hey, I think we finna start cooking, y'all." But I just don't see the. I just don't see it. I just losing Atkins would probably escalate or probably push us a little further to where I think we're going there anyway. So that just get us there a little quicker. You know what I'm saying?
I, yeah, I was gonna say Till Dog said just made a comment, and I want to comment on it, but I'm not yet. I get to it later. First of all, Atkins is a good coach.
Yeah.
Atkins is not one of the ones, but I ain't even getting this. I get into it later.
No, no,
But
no. I'm finna get into it.
okay,
So Tidal said
so
for all these so-called bad coaches, we sure are getting pilfered by some big programs, right?
right. Go ahead.
I thought you wanted to hit it first. I'm
No,
gonna
no,
hit
you
it.
go ahead. You go
Okay.
ahead, and
Well,
I'm gonna come in.
for one, we gotta look at where these coaches are going, right? So we all said Atkins was a good coach. I think we've all been on Alex Atkins, good coach, dynamic coach. We like Alex Atkins, right? So
Mhm,
him going to Georgia, that's a big deal, right? That lets you know that you had a high level quality assistant at that spot, right?
mhm,
That fitted the region, right? He
mhm.
fitted the Georgia. He could recruit the region. Go look at Kenny Dillingham. Who did Kenny Dillingham bring in here? And he got hired by his homeboy at Oregon, right?
That
So he
and that. Yep.
so he took a job by his homeboy at Oregon, right?
Mhm,
Kenny Dillingham wasn't a great recruiter. I mean, he talked great, a lot of great catchy things that he said, and had a lot of swagger. Didn't really bring anybody in here. You know what I'm saying? Like Chuba didn't really develop. Chuba's gone, right? Like, yeah, Kevin Coleman, he was recruiting Kevin Coleman. Kevin Coleman didn't come here. Just Kenny Dillingham wasn't. There was nothing special about Kenny Dillingham. He got on. He had a press conference. He said he didn't know how to beat man-to-man coverage. I mean, this happened. Like I think a lot of times people, when the lover's gone, they start finding things they actually liked about the lover. But while
right.
they was here, it was nothing special about Kenny Dillingham. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a run-of-the-mill OC. They couldn't recruit. He's all way out in Las Vegas recruiting running backs when he in the state of Florida and Georgia right up the street.
Right. I,
Yeah, just
it,
not very good.
what I was gonna say, it's all about relationships. Like
Yeah,
it's all relationships. Your coach gets taken not because he had like some great like record or he was something. Atkins is the exception. He's
right.
good. He might get taken. And no, to answer your question, no, he may not. No, it's not a him to Georgia is not a done deal. F Tanner. But no, what I'm saying is this all about relationships. I had a handshake, wink, wink deal with whoever it is. He had that whenever Lanning was gone, OC was coming with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dillingham was coming with him. They had that deal from when they was back coaching wherever they was coaching at. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they build these relationships. That the D coordinator dude who went to Virginia Tech,
Okay.
the
Okay.
line coach,
Let's go to Marv
him
though.
too.
Let's look at Marv though. Like seriously, let's look at.
Marv,
Okay,
Marv,
we thought Marv was a good defensive mind. We never said he wasn't, but we said he
we
wasn't. He wasn't recruiting well.
correct. We thought that Marv was headed to D. We like when we first came on here and we talked about the coaching staff. We said Chris Marv is next up for a D coordinator spot. The way
Yeah.
he talks X's and O's, the way he teaches other coaches things, this guy is not going to be here long. That was
Yeah.
not was that not our assessment?
Yeah. That's what our assessment
Okay,
was.
so that was the assessment from the beginning. So you losing Marv wasn't a shock to me.
Right.
I was surprised that he couldn't recruit at the level he could recruit at, and his linebackers weren't playing as good as he teached. For whatever reason, he may not have been a fit down here at Florida State. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he actually was probably a good coach. And based on what we've seen from the first, he was teaching other coaches. The
Right.
guy who teaches other coaches is probably in line for something bigger. So no, I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that these were great coaches or
But fit
whatever it is
matters.
for all
But
these bad
fit
coaches.
matters though.
Fit matters and relationship matters.
Yeah.
It don't
Fit.
have nothing to
Yeah.
do with because Mike got this great staff, so everybody coming and pull from him.
Yeah. Because
Coaches know coach.
a great staff don't average 4 wins over 2 seasons. Like we know that. We don't have to be told that, right? We know a great staff don't average 4 wins over 2 seasons. Like a great staff don't do that, right?
No,
Yeah, okay. Like
no.
that's like being a great player that average. That's like being Kevin Love at Minnesota. But can you be Kevin Love at Cleveland when it all matters? Can you be that dominant power forward when it all matters? You know what I'm saying? That's how you evaluate these things. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to do it when
What it look
nobody's
like on
paying
the
attention.
biggest stage.
Yeah, but what does it look like when you got it, when you're in the grinder against other grinders and it's time to get it done? Can you close, right? Can you close a top 3 position group in the country? Can you do that? You know what I'm saying?
And none of outside of Atkins, none of them can do it.
Yeah.
Like they not winning recruiting battles over other guys except for Atkins is the only one.
Well,
You know
Atkins,
what I'm saying?
but even with Atkins, like I even showed you, like I pulled up the recruits this year with Atkins. I was like, you know, he realistically recruits guys that he can get.
Yep.
And I'm not nothing wrong with that, right? But what I'm saying is he's not pulling in a 5-star offensive tackle. He's getting guys he can realistically get, closing them down.
But he did get one though in Arnella.
Huh? Armello, yeah, but you know, that's people are varied on opinions on Armello. Which I'm not knocking it still.
Yeah.
That he's
You got it. You landed it. Yeah.
He's done a good job. Like he's done a good job. It's hard to discuss recruiting because there's so much that goes into closing a top 5, top 10, top 15 recruiting class. It's so much to being a great recruiter. It's not a lot of guys that are just take them, put them anywhere they're going to recruit great, right? Like Tavares Robinson, he's at South Carolina and at Miami. He's a good recruiter, man. The dude's going to recruit his ass off. Ohio State defensive line coach. Dude's a dynamic recruiter. I think he could put his ass anywhere he can evaluate. He going to recruit his ass off. Hell, Dabo Swinney when he was a wide receiver coach, right? Dynamic recruiter. Will Muschamp, dynamic recruiter. It don't matter. You can stick his ass in Idaho. He's gonna pull good players. You know what I'm saying?
Period. Yeah. Some guys are good at this. You know what I mean? Like
they can do that.
There are some guys who are just good at it, and some guys are. Again, we see it. They're better than others, right? So I look at this staff and we say, do we have a staff of natural recruiters, guys you can put anywhere and they can get you who they need?
Right.
I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't. I don't see it, and they haven't shown it. You know what I mean? Like forget me not seeing it. They haven't shown it.
Right.
So at that point, I look at it and I say, don't lose your best. Like don't lose your best. You know what I mean?
This
like
is a good point. I think Woodson is a great recruiter. Now, is he a good coach? I don't know. You know, you leave a lot to be desired, right?
Me and you have differed on Woodson, but I think if I take a step back and I take Travis Hunter out of the equation, then I say You probably, yeah.
Yeah,
He's good. I
he's
don't
good.
know, but I wouldn't say great, but I think he's a good recruiter.
He's a good
I do.
recruiter.
He right now is your best. I mean, again, if you lose Atkins, he becomes your best.
Right.
Yeah,
He's a
he
good
definitely
recruiter.
becomes your best.
He's a good
I
recruiter.
don't disagree with that. I do not disagree with that
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
He's a good recruiter.
Woodson, in my opinion, is a good recruiter.
Yeah,
I agree.
Wilson's a good recruiter. I mean, but things going to that, but he's a good recruiter. I'm not going to sit here and not Woodson. I would much rather have Woodson and Atkins than not have Woodson and Atkins. You know what I'm saying?
1,000%. Boy, you talk about some problems. You
Yeah,
lose Woodson and Atkins, then I mean,
yeah. But when you talk
whew,
about when people was sweating the Kenny Dillingham thing, I'm like, man, what has Kenny Dillingham did other than give a bunch of interviews?
he wasn't even calling plays. You know what I mean? Like from what I mean, wasn't even calling plays. So at this point, okay,
Yeah,
he the points in the second half, no adjustments. I mean, it's a lot of things I can look at and say, really? I mean,
yeah,
I'm not looking at killing Denham and saying, oh man, we lost a good one. I'm no, that's
yeah,
not what happened.
yeah,
But no, I mean, I look at it and I say, we are in a we better win. Put it like this, we better win the battle. In other words, if he is actually being recruited by Georgia and and Georgia makes an offer, then we better match it, and we better throw in some perks, and we better, you know what I mean, like whatever
yeah,
we got to do in order to keep that dude. I think you better keep him because I do think it is very important. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I think it's very important for even if nothing else but continuity, but it's important, I think, for the guys he's currently in on too. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing I think we look at
mhm,
as your top recruiter. He's in. I don't follow recruiting like that, but I imagine he's probably in on some of your top guys.
yeah,
And from what I saw today, I think they in on somebody from Georgia. I think it's between like Florida State, Alabama, and Georgia. Now, do I think Florida State winning the battle between Alabama, Georgia, and Alabama and Georgia? No, I don't think we was winning that one anyway. But I feel like you got a little bit of help if if your ace recruiter's in there. So
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll see, but I think the recruiting thing goes to an even bigger point of being able to compete, being able to be set up for the long term, right? And does this conference, does being in the ACC allow you to actually compete? And I
mm,
think that's something we want to talk about. I think I did a podcast. We did one with Candace Cooper, and
yep.
I think I said on there, I was like, I just can't see the ACC. I can't see Florida. I don't see Florida State in the ACC in the next 3 years, right? I think in
Hmm.
the next 3 years something's gonna shake, right? This isn't sustainable, right? Like I told somebody this, and I don't know if I said it on the podcast enough yet,
I think
but
it was me and you was talking, but
maybe probably just me and you talking. But I was like, the Big Ten gets more money than everybody, right?
hmm
But they're not discuss. It's not discussed out loud because everybody makes it sound like the SEC got all the money, SEC got all the money.
hmm
But the Big Ten, they just did reporters on the Big Ten and even looked into their dark money and everything. And Big Ten brings in $1 billion. That's what a B. That's what a B. $1 billion with a B.
but
They're
we in
they're
poverty.
they have more money. They're making more money per school than the SEC schools, and we know how much the SEC schools make, right?
Hmm.
And I was telling somebody it's a reason why Oklahoma and Texas. It's the reason why the SEC went out to go get them, right? They wanted that Midwest networks, right? They wanted to be able to
Right.
start working their way west to increase the money pool, right?
Right.
So I was like, to me, just looking at this, the Big Ten eventually is gonna make a move to pull in some of this Southern TV money. It's they're not gonna allow the SEC to just continue to just lap to try to even catch up, right?
Right.
And what happens is with this money pool, it is how you keep your coaches because if you got all the coaching talent, then the players follow the talent. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to get prepared for the NFL.
Hmm.
And I was telling somebody this because we were just talking and just jotting around. Everybody, we were talking about recruiting and everything. And I said, man, go look at the development offensive line wise in the Big Ten, right? Well, those offensive line coaches stay there forever. They get paid good money. They get paid good money. And if you look at their recruiting, those guys they be recruiting be like 4 stars, 5 stars, a bunch of 4 stars, and they never lose their coaches. So you can't even get a good coach out of the Big Ten. Like Florida State made a run at Juwan Snyder. Florida State couldn't even get Juwan Snyder, right? Because they make enough money.
Right.
And with the Big Ten, they're in no rush to fire people. The Big Ten would keep a coach there forever. So I was just like, I really think Florida State's gonna eventually be a part of the Big Ten. That's my theory. I think it's gonna be either Florida State and Clemson or Florida State Miami. It's gonna be a part of the Big Ten. I just don't think the ACC is gonna be able to keep existing.
Let me ask you this then. Would you prefer they go to the Big Ten over the SEC?
Yeah, I would.
Why?
I think you take those matchups with Florida State, Nebraska, Florida State, Ohio State, Florida State, Michigan. If you keep Miami with you, you had a Miami, Maryland, that puts you back in the DMV area with the Maryland. You still in the DMV area with Maryland. I think they'll probably take Georgia Tech to go with them, right? I think you'll take Georgia Tech because you want the Atlanta area, you want that Georgia area.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you take Georgia, so you take Atlanta, put Florida State, Miami, Atlanta, right? So I give you some southern opponents, you know what I'm saying? Stay with you or whatever. I think they end up in the Big Ten. I just don't see them in the SEC. I don't think Florida's going to ever allow them in the SEC.
So it's funny. I actually would prefer them in the Big Ten
It's more
because
money
of what
there.
you just said. It wasn't even from the money standpoint. First of all, let me start from the beginning. I think they got to get out of the ACC. I think at this point they got to know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even a case. I've even looked at it deeper than the money. Just you look at the way the conference treats Florida State as if like Clemson has always carried the banner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just the conference itself. Just if you look at
So, hold on,
some
right
of
quick.
the
Just for numbers' sake, right? The ACC brought in, gave out $33 million per school. All right, $33 million per school.
poverty.
SEC gave out 45.5, which when they got there looking at the numbers, it was around 53 or $54 million. So that's almost $20 million more than you. The Big Ten's at 54, but when they add up all the dark money, it was around 65 to $70 million per school. Per school.
Right. Right.
You
So
can
people
pay
who are
coaches.
smart with money,
Yeah,
people who are smart with money looking at this and saying, wait, so what we stand here for? This conference who is bent over backwards to do us wrong. We got the worst officials. We got terrible matchups. There's no benefit. Like at some point you got to do the cost analysis and the benefit, right? And you
Right.
say, what's the plus of us being in the ACC?
Right.
I don't think anybody can look at it and find very many positives.
Right.
I can't find any just like on top of my head. Like I'm trying to figure out the positive. There ain't very many, if at all. So now I think if you then start factoring in money, which everybody cares about, that the bottom line, right? You start factoring in the money, and I think it's a no-brainer that they have to go. I wasn't on board with this at first. I didn't think it was possible. I thought the ACC would never let Florida State get out of there, without remapping some things, adding some teams in, and somehow getting to at least 10 million of the SEC.
Well,
8 million, 5 million of the SEC.
I want to answer something else. Like, so Richie just said the Big Ten would be a big boost to academic ratings too. Not that anyone cares, but I would say this though: if you look, FSU have been promoting and applauding their academic efforts in the last 2 years, right?
Correct.
I do think this is a part of it, right? They don't want to be known as only football, right? And Miami kind of Miami also don't want to be known as only football, right?
Yeah.
Like Miami doesn't want to lean into that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that when you get into the conversation, I just think that the Big Ten makes the most amount of sense because the SEC already has TV deals and that
The
that
structure's in
structure
place.
in the South, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way the Big Ten would get into the South is by grabbing teams from the South, right?
Yep.
I can't see them grabbing North Carolina. I don't, because that doesn't help them because they already got Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, Florida. That's more TV money. You know what I'm saying? I just really think it's gonna be the Big Ten at the end of the day. I think we see this happen within the next 3 years. I don't know if it's next year or the year after. I can't see, because the SEC is already saying this is what we want. We'll do our own playoff system. They already are kind of signaling towards these things and saying these things. And I just think it's only a matter of time before we wake up one day and we're like, that 3 teams from the ACC just left. And 2 teams from the, Oklahoma State and Baylor is now in the Pac-12. I think it's only a matter of time before we see this. You
I
know what I'm
agree.
saying?
I, yeah, no, you're 1,000% correct. I honestly, like I said, I wasn't on board at first, and I didn't think it was a possibility. But like I said, talking to you and others, it, I would almost say it's not even a possibility. I think it's almost a done deal. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like you say, if you look at the messaging, you look at the money, you look at just like you said, the structures they put in place and how the SEC made a move. And
right,
like you said, they're not gonna get caught. You know what I mean? The Big Ten is not gonna get caught by the SEC. So at this point, they've already said, like you talk big game hunting. And here's the thing: Florida State knows we can't be left in the ACC in the event that, like you say, if they take Clemson and Miami and Atlanta, you don't want to be Florida State in the ACC and they take everybody around you. You know what I'm saying? Because they
right,
can still get the Florida market with Miami.
right,
Miami can decide to go, and then you can still take Atlanta and they can grab Clemson.
right,
Well, now you kind of on the outside looking in. It essentially cripples your program.
right.
I think they can look at it and say, well, there's no way in the world we're gonna let a deal go down and we not be a part of it. So in my opinion, I do think a deal will be going down, and it's probably in the next couple of years. I maybe honestly just before the season starts this year. They made the announcement, in 2 years that Florida State. I don't know if Miami's a big enough brand, and I don't know if Miami's a big enough brand for them to take Miami. I also don't know if they take two Florida teams. So
I
I
think
think,
it. I think the reason why you would take the 2 Florida teams plus Georgia Tech is to help with travel, right?
yeah, yeah,
So then you traveling, you taking some of the travel out, right? So you keeping
yeah,
the rivalry with, and then you got the travel. So now you got
yeah,
these 3 teams can play each other every year in these markets, but
right.
then you also can put them in bigger markets in the Ohio's and the DMVs and stuff
Well, I
like that.
think, well, you end up with some very interesting games. You know what I'm saying? Like again, Florida
I
State,
mean, who
Ohio
wouldn't want
State
to
is
see? Who wouldn't want to see Michigan, Florida State?
yeah, yeah. That's what
I
I'm saying.
mean,
We saw what happened last time. Michigan, Florida State was a hugely televised game. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say that game like broke records, or it was one of the highest viewed games of the
mhm,
season, or something like that when they played last. I think you can look at those numbers and say, all right, you know what I mean? Like you tell me we
yeah,
can get this on a consistent basis. Now I think you can look at it and say it's beneficial. Even more so than Florida State, Alabama, or Florida State, Arkansas or something like that. I think though, like I agree, the regional matchups makes it a very big draw, and I think it is a little different. So I'm on board, man. I'm with you.
yeah,
I'm with you.
I think so.
Here's one more question Ti asked as it relates to this. Would you guys want FSU to be in the same division as Ohio State if we move to the Big Ten?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, what I'm gonna say this too, man. 'Cause I see a lot of FSU fans was like, "We got to stop playing these hard schedules," and I'm just like, "Go play the schedule that's gonna pay you the most amount of money, right? If you got to play LSU for $5 million, Alabama for $5 million, Georgia for $5 million every year, do it because at the end of the day, you're either gonna be a good football team, and if you're a bad football team, get paid to be bad."
I, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say no, right? And here's why.
Clemson, but hold on, Clemson did build a program doing that. They built their program playing Georgia every year and playing Auburn every year,
I mean, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Bama to get the cash infused into their program. That's how they built it.
No, I agree with you, but I think I'm gonna say no because find the path of least resistance. With if you end up with three super conferences, right? In the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and the SEC, the winner of that conference is getting in regardless, and
Right,
possibly even the second team because they're gonna expand the playoffs. We know that's coming too.
right,
So now with the expansion of the playoffs, three super conferences, man, give me the path to least resistance. You win the conference. I don't care if you ain't played nobody. If your whole side of everybody down, Michigan, Michigan State, everybody down. Who cares? You
right,
run through them jokers. You got one game. You beat Ohio State. Ohio State come out the other side. You beat Ohio State. You going into the playoffs regardless. It don't matter if the strength of schedule or your conference was down. It won't matter. So in my opinion, no man, find me the easiest way to a championship. And I think they would look at it and say, cool.
It ain't gonna. But see, what does it matter if you
Now,
get what does it matter if you get into the playoffs, right? Then you become Notre Dame, right? You get into the playoffs,
and you
you
get your
get
book.
dog walked every year because you really ain't even as good as your record is.
Here's the thing: is it that bad to be Notre Dame though?
No. I
Like
think
you
what
see what
Notre
I'm saying? Like, because again, that revenue from just getting to the playoffs every year is something.
Dame,
I'd much rather be Notre Dame and getting there and get my head stomped, and then maybe that one year is is down. I can maybe luck up and win one, than never being in that mix.
yeah,
Notre Dame is at least in that mix every year.
yeah, they are. They are in the mix, but I mean, Notre Dame also is a good football team. Like I think
Yeah.
people they take them getting beat by. And most times Notre Dame get beat by the best team. They beat the number 4 seed. They played the number 1 seed. The team that eventually ends up winning the whole thing and gets beat by them. People make it seem like, oh, they didn't deserve to be there. Like, well, who else was gonna go there? Who else
Somebody else
was?
who was gonna get smoked.
Yeah, who else was
Yeah,
gonna go there and
yeah,
get
somebody
smoked?
else
I
who was
mean,
gonna get smoked. Yeah, yeah. It didn't matter. It didn't matter who you put in that 4th spot. They would get smoked that year. It didn't matter. Yeah, no, I
yeah,
agree with you on that one. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, I
people
agree.
just, but you know, but I'm gonna tell you something though. I realize this though. This is a millennial thing. This
Hmm.
is, and I'm not one of the people out there to bag on millennials and shit. But this is a millennial thing where they feel like if the team don't win a championship, then the team sucks, and it's
Uh,
almost dumb. Like, because I was listening to somebody go on about um, but we had the top 75, right? They just did the top
mhm.
75, right? And I'm looking like got T Mac up there. Well, no, I mean T Mac wasn't up there. Dwight
Mhm.
Howard
Yep.
wasn't up there, and I'm looking like, how do you put Damian Lillard over Dwight Howard? Like Dwight Howard led a team to the finals. Like this, like he beat LeBron James in his prime, led him to a finals, and this man ain't even a top 75 player of all time. You got Dame Lillard and James Harden.
It's a whole lot of recency bias, and it's
Like
a whole lot
I,
of what you call it,
I mean,
flash,
I'm looking like
flash.
Russell Westbrook over Dwight Howard. Is this like really people? Really? Like does winning and beating good teams and getting out of the get like James Harden, like let me just go back. Dame Lillard, has he ever even been out the second round of playoffs? I don't think
No,
he's been out the second
I
round
don't
of
think he's been out the
playoffs.
second round. I think he's been out the second. I remember like when he got out of the first round, it was like a big thing. You know what I mean? Matter of
Right.
fact, it was that crazy shot from half court
Right.
over whoever,
Paul
yeah, over
George.
Paul George, yeah. Like that was they was out of the first round then, and I think they got into like a 7-game series against Oklahoma or something like that back in. I feel like I remember them maybe getting close, but I don't think they've made it.
Yeah, but I just that top 75 man was just like when they was naming those players. So I just when they especially when they start naming the new age players, I'm like, in what world was James Harden a better basketball player than Tracy McGrady? In what
Listen to me.
world?
I don't like James Harden's game. You ain't gonna hear like an objection from me. I hate James Harden's game. Hate it.
I
And I
mean,
think this year has been exposed more. Now that he can't get to the free throw line because they ain't giving him them crazy calls, his game look real suspect in the light now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
man,
for me, you ain't
this
gonna ever get
man,
me to be like, yeah, James Harden should be in over anybody when you talking about top seventy-five
this
players.
man has been notorious for being the worst defender on his team. The worst. T Mac at one time was a top 3 player in the NBA and was the best two-way player in the NBA for at least 4 years.
1,000%. T Mac should have been in, and Dwight Howard should have been.
I mean, what
That,
are we?
I don't even think. Yeah, I don't know how.
What are
Again,
we
but it's
even
it's
doing?
it's recency bias, man. It's recency bias. It's their games are more like first of all, kids don't remember T Mac. So let's like I mean, they don't remember T Mac.
Right,
So
but I'm saying,
I
but it
if you
wasn't
ever have a
kids.
conversation about T Mac
But it
with
wasn't
anybody,
kids.
nobody knows.
It wasn't kids that did this though. This
Yeah,
is
but it's still what it's called. It's still kids still influence it. You know what
yeah,
I
I
mean?
guess
Like
it's a popularity contest,
yeah,
but
that's what I mean.
yeah,
The people who are the most vocal are the kids, and the kids kind of still run things. Like yeah, I hear you. Wasn't it was the writers or whatever it is, but man, they looking around and they saying it's Dame time. He won't rap songs.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
I think he may have been the first song I heard when I turned on 2K the other day. Like, it's hard to, you know what I mean, for a kid to not say, all right, Dame Lillard. Man, Dame Lillard way better than they don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They don't. They really just don't know. And I think if you are influenced by that and you see it on a day to day basis, it's easy for a guy who is
It's
older to kind of be
it's
influenced and say, "Nah, I
it's
think Dame Lillard is a better basketball player."
it's
And
it's
maybe,
so incredible.
and
It's so incredible, man. Because I was
the
like,
James
because
Harden one is the one that bothers me more than any of them. Dame, I
yeah,
actually don't necessarily have too much of a problem because yeah, he hadn't won, but Dame can hoop. You know me, I'm a
I mean,
fan of hoop. I'm a
Dame is
fan
a
of
good
Dame.
player. No, Dame is a good player. I'm not saying they're not good
James
players,
is the one that I
but
look at and I say
but
he
it's
ain't have
just
no business
like,
being up there.
dude, like have some respect for what people like really like
Have accomplished.
have accomplished. Like I was talking to
Shoot, it's
somebody.
the same thing with the Lawrence Taylor conversation when they was with Aaron Donald and whatever. And I was like, listen, y'all didn't see Lawrence Taylor play. You could tell the kids who didn't grow up playing Super Tecmo Bowl because you could like you don't understand how
No,
dope.
bro. It ain't even a Lawrence Taylor thing, right? It's look at Reggie White.
Yeah, you
And
could tell the
I
kids
like
who didn't
Aaron Donald.
see
I like Aaron Donald. Man,
you.
Reggie White was when Reggie White last year he retired, came back. His last year after retiring, coming back after 3 years, he had 7 sacks. That's a good year for most players.
For most players, yeah, yeah, and that was an off year for him.
That
Yeah,
was
that was
his
an off year.
22nd year in the NFL.
Think about that for a second.
Bro, Reggie White was
22
preternatural.
years.
This dude was preternatural as an NFL football player. Like I always tell people this.
22 years getting
Like
seven
me,
is
I'm not gonna lie.
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I am like Ed Reed is like he's
Harden is
up there.
trash, TR.
Yeah, Harden is trash, bro. Stop that.
Talking about
But
Harden dropping 50 a game.
we
Man,
we
he
talk.
was getting 38 free throws on them 50-point games. I was there. I watched them. Look at them stat lines on them 50-point
But my
games.
biggest thing, well, see, the thing with the NBA is it's
He dog
hard.
James
It's
Harden.
like the NBA scoring points. In NBA is like receiving yards and throwing and passing yards in NFL. It's inflated because you've incentivized them to score, and just like you've incentivized the NFL for them to pass the ball,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it like even like I told somebody, and I like these wide receivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like Reggie Wayne. I think Reggie Wayne is a
Mhm.
good player. I do.
Yep.
Jimmy Smith was a way better player than Reggie White. Okay, it's not even close to me. Like it's not even. It's not even up for debate for me.
Okay, so
Jimmy Smith.
Sam out here. Okay,
No,
all
I'm
right.
just saying. Like,
Okay, I see what type of day we
I'm
here.
being
Sam drinking
real.
brown. I see
No,
what type of day it
I'm
is.
being
All right.
real.
You 1,000% correct. I just
No,
didn't know we was headed here.
I'm
You know
just
what I
saying
mean? Like,
they be naming these players. I be like, bro,
Jimmy was better.
you put Jimmy with Peyton Manning for 10 years. He might
Whew,
have broke every damn receiver record about the bed, bro.
whew.
Like,
Jimmy had I ain't gonna say bad quarterbacks throwing it to him. He had average to below average
Mark
quarterbacks
Brunell was nothing special,
throwing it
bro.
to him, and he was getting off. Him and Keenan was getting off
Bro, the best
with
defense.
bad quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like
Best defense in NFL, bro. That man went for 252 yards on them, man. That's real. That happened.
that happened.
That
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go watch your NFL film. No, I'm with you on it. I love Jimmy, man. Shout
Crack
out to Jimmy
aside.
Smith,
That's crack
man.
aside now. Crack aside. Just say it. Be real.
Jeez.
Be real.
Yeah. Jimmy will get in though. Jimmy
Yeah,
gonna get in.
But no,
it's
but I'm
gonna
just
start.
saying though, they get into these conversations about these players and these stats and everything. I'm like, man, sometimes the context of what you watching, it matters, man. Like, and me and you even talk about the LeBron thing. I told you, I said, man, I think LeBron gonna be the greatest statistical player of all time. I
He
truly
gonna have all the numbers. Yeah, he finna end up with
all
the
the
numbers.
assist
Every last
numbers,
one of them.
all the scoring numbers, might have the most wins,
Mhm.
all of that shit, right?
And they'll probably never even be able to be broken. He gonna have them all
Right.
throughout time. Yeah.
But to me, just watching basketball and the way they affect the game, I'm always gonna say MJ's was better, right? I'm always
1,000%.
gonna say that. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody, you know me. I'm the biggest LeBron fan you might know or whatever
Right.
it is. But I promise you, I've watched both of them dudes play. I came up in the era where I was able to see Jordan play, and I've seen LeBron play. And I love LeBron. LeBron, I think, is one of the smartest basketball players I've ever seen play basketball. Like
Mhm.
he really does break down the game in a way that's unique. Jordan didn't have to break down the game. Jordan was just better.
Right. Yeah,
Like it didn't matter. The math was I'm gonna get these buckets.
Yeah.
You know what I
What
mean?
does it take to win?
Yeah,
because that's what
who
I'm
I
about
don't
to
care
go
who
do.
you sending over here.
Yeah,
I'm getting these buckets. I don't
right,
care who I'm guarding. I don't care who guarding me. I'm getting these buckets, and you not scoring as much as me. I don't care what MVP, how great you was, how career season. It didn't matter. And so
right.
it's those things that I think people don't look at, and that's the things I think they miss when you didn't see T Mac play, and when you didn't see other play. You know what I mean? When you don't see these
But
guys play,
that's
you only looking
something
at the
else.
fact that Dame Lillard can shoot from half court.
But
Cool, Dame Lillard can shoot from half court and go
right.
in. You
But
miss it. You missed a
that's
lot
the
of pieces
thing
of
you miss because like even now, I was on this train, right? For the longest. I was on this train where I was like, man, Aaron Rodgers is clearly better than Tom Brady. Like this ain't even up for debate. Aaron Rodgers is better. He's more talented, he's more gifted. He does everything better than Tom Brady. I was on this train. This is me.
it.
But over the last 4 years, I've watched Tom Brady. I'd be like, you know what, bro? Nobody managed a football game. Nobody managed the football game.
They told us it was Belichick.
Right.
That
Nobody
man left.
manages,
Belichick struggled, and he kept riding.
but I'm just
He
saying,
kept
like,
riding.
nobody manages the game around them. Even when it's bad, nobody manages it better than Tom Brady.
Period.
So while Pat Mahomes might have better arm talent, might
Hmm.
be faster, might be everything. Like
Make all the crazy throws. Yep.
if you built a quarterback, he's Pat Mahomes, he's Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But Tom manages a football game better than any quarterback in the history of the NFL. Like when everything's bad, when you're trying to figure out what they're doing, Tom is not going to allow you to get killed in the game, right? He's
Yep.
gonna fall down and take the sack, gonna throw the ball away. He's gonna hit the check downs. He's gonna
He's
get three or
he.
four first downs. He's gonna
Here's a question:
manage the
Has he ever
game.
been Yeah. Has he ever been the reason they lost?
I thought that Tennessee the last year versus when they got beat by the Titans that last year when he was in the Pats,
Right.
for the Patriots, I thought he was kind of somewhat of the reason in that game. But even then, he wasn't playing bad. Like it's something to managing a football game that every quarterback can't. Every quarter, like I watch Pat Mahomes. When you really speed him up and get him throwing them crazy passes, and he get one or two, he'll get out of control with it, right? And he'll
What
eventually.
I whew, I don't want to get on Pat Mahomes because I know how people feel about Pat. I don't. Pat Mahomes games remind me a lot of James Harden in my
But
opinion. Again,
he's
not
still great
trash,
though. But he's
but I
still
mean like he
great.
is still great.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take nothing away from him, but I think sometimes he gets more into flash than substance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You don't need a sidearm pass right here. Just give me a pass. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I thought you saw it at the end of the playoff game. You know what I mean? The end of that
Mhm.
playoff game, and he started pressing. Now you trying to make a hero throw. You didn't need that. Tom
Right.
would never.
Right.
And so, in my opinion,
Right.
those are the type of things I look at and I say, but those are the things. But see, those are the nuances, right? When
Right.
you talk about like when we're
But that
breaking
don't
down players,
that's not gonna
you
show up on the stat sheet though.
yeah,
That don't show
exactly.
up in the
That
stat
don't
sheet.
show up in the stat sheet. You
Yeah.
telling me about Harden 50-point games, and I'm saying 38 of them was free throws because he was doing some silly move that got him a free throw, and they was, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it was, which is why the NBA took it out, and why are you looking at this game now? Also,
But you know,
how many of those 50-point games came in the playoffs?
and
I would argue none.
I also think something too about the MJ discussion is he could manage a basketball game somewhat the same way Brady could manage a football game. Like he would get to the free throw line, he would
Hmm.
make the defensive stop he had to get. He would do these little small things that gave his team a chance, even when Scotty was hurt, even when Robin was acting crazy. It just and I just think that all these stats, and I think Kenny the Jet Smith and Barkley said it the right way. Maybe we need to start comparing these guys and just say not the greatest, but it's all greatness because they all do it
Yeah,
in such a different way. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
I think
So
right, especially I think because again, I know older guys who will argue Wilt. You know what I'm saying over both,
right,
and I can't argue that because I ain't see Wilt play. Like,
right,
but they're arguing the same things I'm arguing about Jordan to LeBron fans. You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
Like, they're arguing the same things, and so
right,
I can't necessarily say that he wrong because you watch these guys play. So I mean, I look at it and I say, man, they're all great. Let's just
yeah.
appreciate the greatness.
Yeah.
Whether you the number one player in the NBA or you the number two greatest NBA player of all times,
Still
you
pretty great.
still wasn't real. You know what I mean? Like really, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I would be.
Yeah.
I can't really be like,
Yeah.
dang dog, you number two. That you could have did better. I mean, you know. So it.
And it's kind of like I was telling somebody we was talking about dude, I had posted this thing where Jordan and LeBron had hugged, right? And
Yeah.
you never really see them really around each other
It
ever.
was noticeable. It's
It
why I
was real
retweeted it
noticeable.
as well because they've always felt like they kind of had some sort of animosity
Right.
towards each other. That but this one was the first time I saw Jordan
But
kind of
if
be like,
but you felt like I felt because LeBron's coming towards the end of his career,
hmm
that was kind of like Jordan's way of saying, yeah, you in the club with us
you would, yeah,
with
he
the great
welcomed them.
with the great ones.
He,
It's like how Deion Sanders said, yeah, it's a Hall of Fame, but it's rooms in the Hall of Fame. Everybody don't come to the upper room. You know what I'm saying?
this is a disrespectful thing to say, boy. Goodness gracious, Dion. I
Yeah.
heard him say it. I've ignored it. Goodness gracious,
It's
that's a
like
disrespectful thing to say in the Hall
it's
of
like,
Fame.
yeah, it's a Hall of Fame, but it's an upper room in the Hall of
Goodness.
Fame. It's an area
Yeah.
reserved for me and Jerry Rice and Lawrence Taylor, some of us, you know what I'm saying? But I felt like that
Oh
was I
shoot.
felt like that was Jordan's way of kind of being like, me, Magic, Bird, if
Yeah.
Kobe was alive, Kobe, of course,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Duncan and Kareem
Yeah.
Abdul-Jabbar. Like
Right.
you're
You are,
part of
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm the
elite of the
gatekeeper
elite.
to this room.
Yeah.
I am now, yeah, you are now allowed in here with us. You can talk to us now.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Welcome.
You
Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
but it's honestly exactly how I felt. Because
yeah.
again, they had been so I don't even know
I think
I
it
don't want
was
to say it's adversarial,
I
but
don't
it was
think it's
almost like
adversarial, but I think it was
you're gonna have to earn your way in here and I'm gonna hold you to a higher standard because people
right.
have said you the
That
greatest. So
I
I'm gonna
think that's what
hold
it
you to
is.
this.
Yeah.
All right, now you. I think he can look at it and say, "Dog, you don't want it in Cleveland, you don't want it in Miami, you don't want it in LA." I,
You got
you
four
know what I
chips.
mean?
You got four
You got four
chips.
chips.
That's
I
that's that's a special
come
group
on.
to have more than 3
Yeah,
championships.
yeah. Come on. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's a
Yeah.
special
Come
group.
on.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Come on.
So,
Yeah,
but
and I agree. I thought it was I thought it was intentional too, because it's been
I
intentional the other way.
yeah, I thought it was intentional. I thought but I just like then I was like thinking like, damn man, I really hate that Kobe's not here. Like shit just make me sad all the time. It
Yeah,
just
but see,
yeah.
he welcomed Kobe a while ago. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like Kobe, that's the
Kobe,
good thing about
yeah,
it. You know what I mean? When I look at it, Kobe got his flowers from MJ. You know what I mean?
yeah,
A while ago, so I don't feel too bad that he wasn't there for it. I mean, even though shoot, sad he gone, but
yeah.
he did get his flowers before he left here.
Yeah, I was gonna try to do some no,
We
we'll do something later in the week though, man. We almost at an
Yeah,
hour,
I'm gonna
man.
say, yeah, man. We almost at an hour. I saw somebody serve 5. He was like, "Oh, we start doing these every week, man. We definitely gonna get back on it." Like we said, first of all, and we missed this. Please hit the subscribe button, man. If you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Rate it 5 stars. I promise you, we're gonna do a better job of being more,
I know
a week. But
I
here's the
think
other thing, though. We don't talk about if they nothing to talk about. That's the other thing about it. We're not required. We're not hired by the team, so we don't have to come out here and just tell you that nothing's happening. So if ain't nothing happening, there's no point in us actually just jumping on
but
here just to shoot shit.
I do I mean I am gonna do a spaces every week. So
Yep.
if you're on Twitter, follow me at More Life One. Twitter and follow Listen Up page on Twitter. We're gonna do a spaces every week. I'm gonna do one tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
All right.
Um, Also, let me know what you guys think about the new system I've been doing with the So What's Next part, putting it on the same YouTube page. Let me know if y'all like those or not. So I mean, we're gonna find ways to drop content. It's just not gonna be all no's all the time. It's only so many ways to talk about a team that's averaging 4 wins. I just gotta be honest here. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
just
can't even argue, like, because it
it's only
really
so
is.
many
You
ways
got
to
to
do
get
it.
creative, man. You really got to
Yeah.
find some creativity when it comes to
I was talking to somebody else that got a pretty popular FSU podcast, and we was discussing this and just making jokes because they listen to our pod, and big ups to them. I appreciate that because they way bigger, big podcast. And
yeah.
he was talking to me, and he said, "Man, um, I wish I could do what you guys do because y'all could kind of go and talk behind the scenes about race or whatever you guys want to politics, whatever y'all want to get
hmm
into. You don't have to worry about 1,000 emails." And he was like, at one time, the team would have kept losing. He said, we would just turn it into a barbecue podcast. We just gonna talk about the best way to barbecue.
Listen, I feel you. 'Cause, listen, man, we be struggling with it. We be struggling with it at times, man. Trying to figure out how we gonna talk about 4 wins. How you gonna break down another loss? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you get into that, you know what I mean? Oh, okay, they lost this way. They lost this way this time, and it's tough. You know what I mean? It's tough to do. But I agree, man. We'll definitely try to be more consistent.
And I think I answered this
Like you said,
already.
the spaces will be like you said will be every week, even if you don't get if you don't get us here. And F Tanner, you did. I think you did answer that.
Yeah, we're gonna be out here, man. We it'll be the next 3 years. I don't know if it's next year or the year after. It'll be within 3 years, I think.
I'm more on the bandwagon. It'll probably be this year. I
Yeah,
think, in
I
other
wouldn't be
words,
surprised. I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
think if the SEC made they move last year, I don't think the Big Ten too far behind.
Right.
That's my opinion. I don't think they need to force their way out because I think they're leaving regardless. They cannot get left behind if they still want to be Florida State University, who is a top 10 program.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll be back. I mean, we'll Florida State be back. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this in every episode. Florida State long-term viability is fine. Okay, we just suck now, but long-term FSU will be a part of the discussion again. I promise y'all that will happen. You know what I'm saying? Don't get into this.
We're gonna
We're
be
gonna
Nebraska.
Yeah, like no, you
Yeah,
won't. You
I've
would
said that.
never
We can't
become
beat
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
You won't become Nebraska. You won't become Tennessee. I'm
We won't
telling
become
you,
Tennessee.
you won't become that. Florida State will win a national championship in my kids' lifetime and probably in mine again. They will play for a national championship in some form or fashion in my lifetime, in the rest of my
I would
lifetime.
argue in the next 10 years they probably play.
Yeah, I would take that too. In the next 10 years, I think so too. Now that might not be with everybody's favorite coach right now, but hey, that's a different conversation. You know what I'm saying?
I
Uh,
ain't say, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm just telling you, I think Florida State will be back in the next 10 years. Who will be there to lead them to that uh uh championship is going to determine a lot. Is going to be based a lot on what happens this season. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, man, hit the subscribe button. At Morla, I don't even remember my Twitter. Um, it's somewhere. If
I'm
y'all,
finna,
if you find, I'm gonna say, if you find a listen up page, you can find I think it's at slightly different B. At slightly different B, man. Follow on Twitter. Listen up podcast. Follow the listen up podcast page. If you're not on Twitter, man, create a Twitter just to listen to the spaces, man. It's a little bit more I guess unstructured than what we do here. You know
well,
what I
it's
mean? Because it
like
kind of goes all over the place.
we kind of get
Yeah,
everybody involved with it. So it's fun, man. We get former players that come in there.
absolutely.
We get a lot of different people in there actually, man. So it's come to the Twitter space sometimes. Hop in.
Yep. Listen, man, we appreciate you guys listening. That's it. Like you said, we don't hit about an hour. Rate, review, subscribe again. YouTube. If you listen on Facebook, man, just give a go nose. You know what I mean? Underneath the comment when this episode posted, I'll post it in the Facebook, and just leave a comment, go nose, letting us know y'all listen, man. And we appreciate y'all listening as always. We out.